In the beginning of movie we see an old woman, Helga, who is shown in her apartment where a strange bug has intruded. Helga also suffers from memory loss, so she used to write everything on her wall. From there, she sees the helpline number and calls it. A young man arrives at her house in response. As soon as he arrives, he notices that something strange is happening to Helga's condition. There's a weird, very foul-smelling liquid oozing from her. The young man speaks to Helga as she opens the door and asks her, "There's already an emergency van outside your house. If they came to help you, why did you call again? Where are those people?" Helga replies, "I have memory loss. I don't remember where they are." The young man goes inside to find the bug. From the ceiling, he hears terrifying noises that scare him as well. He realizes that whatever is there is very big and dangerous. As he moves towards another room, he sees blood. This blood was coming from the ventilation. When he looks, he is shocked to see the dead bodies of the two people who had come earlier to help Helga. Frightened, he starts to leave, but as he turns around, he finds himself facing a giant spider. Before he can think of anything, the spider attacks him. After that, it dragged him into the ventilation. Helga, who was standing outside, saw all of this and got scared, so she went into another room. Due to her memory loss, she forgot everything as soon as she entered the room. Unconcerned, she turned on the TV and started watching it. But when the spider's noises started scaring her again, she called the helpline for the third time. The scene cuts off here, and now we are shown the story from 4 days earlier to understand how it all began. So, 4 days ago, a meteor from space collided with Helga's apartment. In the adjacent apartment, Helga's granddaughter Charlotte lived with her mom and stepdad. Charlotte often came to her mom's house through the ventilation pipe because a lot of her stuff was kept there. Today, when she came to get her toys, she saw the meteor. On this meteor, there was a strange spider. Charlotte liked this spider very much, so she put it in a jar and took it home. Charlotte's dad was a comic writer, and Charlotte often helped him write his comic stories. Today, while he was sketching for his comic, Charlotte came to him. She suggested adding red to the eyes of his comic character, saying, "If you make your mommy evil, it will sell more." During their conversation, it becomes clear that Charlotte's stepdad loves her very much, but Charlotte has never accepted him as her real dad. Charlotte's mom often took care of Charlotte's grandma, Helga, because although Charlotte's dad betrayed them, Charlotte's grandma did not. She still loved them very much. In fact, Charlotte's dad even betrayed his own mom, Charlotte's grandma, which worsened her mental condition to the point that she started forgetting everything. Now, we see Charlotte watching the spider in the jar. A bug comes near her, and Charlotte kills it with her hand. Seeing this bug, the spider starts making noise. Charlotte thinks that the spider might be hungry, so she feeds the dead bug to the spider. The spider devours it in one go. Charlotte is amazed at how the spider can eat such a big bug in one go. To observe this further, she kills another bug that comes near and feeds it to the spider as well. Charlotte is astonished to see how the spider grows rapidly after eating anything. Meanwhile, Charlotte's stepdad, who is writing his comic story, gets confused about something. He goes to Charlotte's room to seek her help and notices the jar with the spider. At this time, Charlotte is in the washroom, so he keeps looking at the spider. When Charlotte comes back in, he tells her, "I came here to get your help for my story." Charlotte says, "Don't worry, I will help you, but I need to sleep now." After this, her stepdad leaves her room, and they all go to sleep. At night, the spider started howling, perhaps because it was hungry and what it had eaten wasn't enough. In search of bigger prey, the spider left the jar and went through the ventilation pipe to another apartment, which belonged to Charlotte's stepdad's mom, making her Charlotte's second grandma. The spider attacked Charlotte's second grandma's parrot. In the morning, when the grandma saw it, she screamed loudly. Hearing her scream, Charlotte's dad rushed to her house. There, he saw that someone had badly attacked the parrot, leaving it in a horrible condition. They were puzzled about who could have done this. Charlotte's grandma suggested it might have been a rat or some animal. They called the emergency services, and a rescue officer came and informed them that it was the work of an insect with stingers, which had repeatedly stung the parrot. The rescue officer started spraying insecticide throughout the building. When it was Charlotte's turn, she refused to let them spray and told the officer clearly that she had a spider she was keeping, so they couldn't spray in her apartment. After the officer left, Charlotte started playing with the spider again. She fed it some more bugs and noticed that the spider was scared of the smell from her mouth freshener. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, the spider once again left its jar, went through the ventilation pipe, and entered another lady's room. Seeing the spider, the lady's dog started barking. She moved her dog aside and picked up a family photo. While she was looking at the photo, the spider fell on her. She got scared seeing the spider, which suddenly attacked her face. Blood started coming from her mouth, and when she saw it in the mirror, she got even more frightened. Suddenly, the spider went into her mouth and started eating her internal organs, killing her in the process. In the morning, Charlotte is seen asking her mom for permission to visit their neighbor, a man who researched animals. Charlotte showed him the spider and asked for information about it. The man, looking at the spider, told Charlotte that he didn't think it was a regular spider because normal spiders take a long time to grow this big, while this one had grown in hours. He asked Charlotte if he could research this insect. Charlotte agreed and gave him the spider. After researching it, he discovered that it was an extremely dangerous type of spider capable of killing a human. Charlotte returned home, where her mom and dad were talking. Suddenly, they heard a noise coming from the ventilation. They saw that it was the dog belonging to the lady who lived next door. Charlotte's dad decided to return the dog to her. He knocked on the lady's door several times, but when she didn't answer, he had to use an emergency key to open it. He let the dog inside, but it started barking loudly. There were bloodstains inside, and seeing them, Charlotte's dad got scared. When he went inside, he found the lady's dead body. He immediately called the police. The police informed them that no human was involved in the woman's death. Hearing this, everyone in the building became terrified because first, animals were dying, and now humans were dying as well. No one knew who or what was behind all these deaths. Charlotte's neighbor calls her dad to his house and tells him that the spider Charlotte has is extremely poisonous. He pleads with him to convince Charlotte to either release the spider far away or to kill it. Hearing this, Charlotte's dad is shocked. He asks the neighbor if the spider can kill a human, and when the neighbor says yes, Charlotte's dad becomes very worried. He goes home and scolds Charlotte, saying, "Don't you know how dangerous it is? It can even kill humans. You can't keep it at home." Charlotte responds very rudely, saying, "You're not my dad. You can't scold me or impose any restrictions on me. I know this spider is good, and I will keep it. It's my decision." The scene then cuts to nighttime. The spider, which Charlotte had left at the neighbor's house, had eaten all the animals there and then moved into the ventilation. Charlotte had brought her dead neighbor's dog home. The dog started barking loudly at the ventilation, as if sensing danger. The scene cuts to Charlotte's second grandma's house, where she couldn't find her cat. She searched for it everywhere and suddenly heard the cat's voice coming from the ventilation. When she went to get it from the ventilation, a bug there suddenly attacked her. It injured her so badly that she couldn't even call out for help. It seemed like she was taking her last breaths. Charlotte's parents were fighting at home, which Charlotte hated. To avoid hearing their argument, she took her brother to her room and put on headphones. During their fight, the large spider entered their room through the ventilation pipe and attacked both her mom and dad. Charlotte, who was in her room, didn't hear her parents' voices for a while, so she went out to check. Outside, she didn't find her parents, but instead, she found a lot of blood. Realizing that this was all the spider's doing, she understood that if she wanted to save her parents, she would have to kill the spider. She already knew that the spider was afraid of mouth freshener tablets. Using this knowledge, she planned to kill the spider. Before she could execute her plan, the spider took her little brother right in front of her eyes. Determined to save her entire family, Charlotte mixed many mouth freshener tablets in water and filled her water gun with it. She then went into the ventilation because she knew the spider had taken everyone there. As soon as Charlotte's dad opened his eyes, he found himself trapped in a strange web. In front of him were his mom, his son, and his wife, all trapped in the web created by the giant spider. Charlotte's dad tries to save his mom, but her web breaks and she falls down. Meanwhile, Charlotte navigates through the ventilation and arrives at Helga's house, where she finds her second grandma's lifeless body but not her parents'. She asks Helga about all this, but Helga remembers nothing. When Charlotte hugs Helga, she notices a smell of mouth freshener on her clothes, realizing that this might be why the spider hasn't killed Helga yet. Charlotte asks Helga to stay there and call the helpline for help. Just then, Charlotte hears her stepdad's voice coming from the elevator. She quickly goes to the elevator and finds her dad trapped in webs. Charlotte sprays him with the mouth freshener water, breaking the webs and freeing him. She explains that this mouth freshener water can kill the spider and break its webs. They decide to save the others together. Meanwhile, the rescue officer, who had previously come to the building when the parrot died, arrives again after Helga's call. This is the scene we saw at the beginning of the movie. He notices a green, foul-smelling liquid inside the air conditioner before entering Helga's house. Inside, the spider attacks the rescue officer. Hearing his screams, Charlotte and her dad rush to help. They are already badly injured from previous encounters with the spider. They try to save the rescue officer, but the spider confronts them. Charlotte's dad throws the mouth freshener water on the spider, causing it to flee in fear. The rescue officer tells them that he has a nail gun that can be used to kill the spider. As soon as the spider appears, he attacks it with the nail gun, causing blue blood to ooze out of the spider. During the struggle, one of the nails hits the fire alarm, activating all the water sprinklers in the building. The water starts pouring down on them, washing away the mouth freshener they had applied to keep the spider at bay. As the protection from the mouth freshener wears off, the spider becomes more dangerous, and it takes the opportunity to carry away the rescue officer. To save their remaining family members, Charlotte and her dad move forward and find that the spider has trapped Charlotte's mom and brother in the garbage tunnel. They both enter the tunnel to rescue them. Charlotte's dad tries to activate the tunnel's remote to eject them out of the building like garbage, but it doesn't work. He goes outside to fix the wiring but gets electrocuted and collapses, seemingly dead. Before Charlotte can do anything for her dad, she sees the spider approaching. Without wasting any time, she presses the tunnel's button, which fortunately starts working. The door of the tunnel closes just as the spider arrives, crushing it and finally killing it. Their lives are finally saved from the spider. They come out of the tunnel and find Charlotte's dad, who is just unconscious. After reviving him, everyone is overjoyed. For the first time, Charlotte calls him Dad, which surprises him. They all become emotional and hug each other, believing that all their problems are now over and they can look forward to a better life. However, they are mistaken. In the final scene of the movie, many spider eggs are shown inside the ventilation, indicating that the danger is not completely over. What will happen next is unknown, ending the story on a dangerous and mysterious note. I hope you have liked this movie recap. Please like, share, and subscribe for more real recaps.